We're going to learn how the Musar for Tuesday, Parashat Matot. הביאו את כל המעשר אל בית האוצר ובחנונינה בזאת. The pasuk says, bring all the maaser, which is the 10% that you give for tzedakah, and test me now with this. Gadol afrashat maaser, the separation of the maaser, of this 10%, to give as charity, שאמר הקדוש ברוך הוא בחנונינה מכל דברים אחרים שאסור לנסותו, שנאמר לא תנסו את השם אלוקיכם. This is so great because Hashem said not to test him. Do not try Hashem, it says in another pasuk. But he contrasts with everything else that we're not allowed to put Hashem to test, so to speak. Is he going to fulfill something or not? On the maaser, it says you're allowed to make it as a test. In other words, when a person gives maaser, that he will be rewarded for giving the 10% to charitable causes. What is this 10% that we're talking about? This is the 10% that he gives to the poor people from everything that he earns. And beribit, whether it is interest, like say that he's charged, let's say, going not to a Jew, because for a Jew, a fellow Jew, is not allowed to charge interest. But he charged interest in a way that it was permitted. He has to give from that interest that he earned 10% to support charity. And whether he received a compensation for working as an employee, and anything that comes to a person that he would benefit from, even if he found a lost object, or if they brought him a lost object that he had given up on recovering it, he said, that's it, it's lost forever. But he was brought back to him. That also is considered to be like a new benefit that he gives a percentage from it. He should separate like it says in the pasuk, and it says here the aspect of charging ribit, the interest is what he charged for those that are not Jewish. And he says, woe to those who hold back their 10%, their maaser, not to give it. Because at the end, they will be left only with the 10%. In other words, if they earn 100, they're supposed to give 10. If they don't give the 10, they might end up just with the 10 themselves. That's what the pasuk says. Ve'ish et kadashav lo yihu. His sacred things shall belong to him. What is his sacred things? It's the 10% that he was supposed to give. Will belong to him. In other words, that's what he end up with. So it's a great merit, a great schut to give the 10% of whatever a person earns to maaser, to support charity. There are, of course, some other rules and some other halachot that apply to this. And the advice is to consult with a rabbi in terms of each person's personal situation. There are some situations where a person earns just enough to pay his basic expenses. If he was to give 10%, he might have to be supported himself. In situations like that, has to be consulted. A person still has to give charity, even if it's not 10%, when he's able to afford to give the 10%. He should be at least give a certain amount every month throughout the year, that he should be a giving person. But, like I mentioned here, in the modern world, the basic expenses are sometimes so high that if a person earns only $1,000, and by the time he pays his rent and his food, he may be at $1,000. So what does he do? If he gives a 10%, he would not be able to. So in situations like this, consult a rabbi for a qualified opinion on how to act in situations like that. And it could be that he would be exempt from the full 10%, but still he would have to give some amount of charity. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.